Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time on the GSMC Sports Network. So, hope you guys are having a great week. Today is Wednesday, or like my mom like to always call it hump day. Come on, guys. Don't think like that. Don't get too excited. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you're trying to get over that hump, and then now you got to look down toward is third a successful Thursday and Friday. So here to get you along the way, here to get us through a week, but we have a great week of wrestling tonight. We have AEW Dynamite. And on Friday, of course, always SmackDown. And Saturday, we have SummerSlam. So a lot of cool things to look forward to as a wrestling fan, to be honest. So you can't really complain too much. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today on tap. We have our WWE NXT Great American Bash a week one preview. We also have our AEW Dynamite preview, our Great American Bash review, or sorry, our AEW Dynamite preview, and then we're going to talk about in recent news, it's been said that Wembley Stadium holds more of a capacity crowd as opposed to Cleveland Brown Stadium. So there's a lot of speculations going around, people saying that All In is going to be bigger than WWE SummerSlam. So we're going to talk about it a little bit, maybe debate a little bit, kind of get into the matches and stuff like that. And I want to hear you guys' opinions. Of course, I always just share mine. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are dying to hear whatever I have to say every 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. I'm just babbling on about professional wrestling. But hey, you guys always have that tips and donations link. You'd always send that chat. Nevertheless, we're a family, we're a wrestling family, 1,010%. And then we're going to move on to segment 4. We're going to talk about my most memorable SummerSlam moments. Totally biased, obviously subjective as hell. So, if you have a favorite SummerSlam moment, make sure you hit me up in the chat. In our fifth and final segment, like we do every Wednesday, we ended off with our Wednesday's weekly wrestling news. So a lot of fun, just ahead of you guys. But before we move on any further, I want to remind you guys to hit up that tips and donations link, hit up that chat. I want to hear you guys' beautiful voices. I want to hear you guys' takes in terms of professional wrestling. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show, follow the GSMC Sports Network for awesome content, for more sports and podcasts and stuff like that. It's pretty dope over here. Be a part of this GSMC Sports bloodline. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. So don't be too shy to hit up that chat. Give me a shout out where you're listening from. And yeah, let's talk about some good old fashioned wrestling. Once again, the link is at the GSMCpodcast.net. All right, so we got a segment 1. We're going to talk about NXT's Great American Bash Week 1. And yeah, we got off to a hot start. Obviously, you saw the host, you saw Hank Tank, with a little, with a kooky entrance. I got to be honest, the nice little intro kind of gave me, like, I don't want to say like Attitude Era vibes and Attitude Era meeting up with the new day and age of professional wrestling. A little family friendly, somewhere where you can take the kids and watch wrestling along with your beautiful children, which is something that WWE definitely is a marksman for. So, definitely love the intro. So we're going to start off. We have the WWE Women's World Champions retaining their titles, Alba Fyre and also Isla Dawn, the Unholy Union, or I think they like to call themselves. But they defeated Lash Legend and Miss Jackson of Metaphor. And overall, I thought they were pretty damn impressive. I thought overall, like, they did really, really well, able to establish themselves in the ring as tag team competitors. Uh, obviously in the beginning of the match, you saw Lash Legend, kind of took it out, thrown into the steel steps. So, you kind of saw them fight their way up. It was, it's not like it wasn't like, like a landslide win. But in reality, we all know why they are the WWE World Women's Tag Team Champions. They have a gauntlet to go through. Next, they have to face Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, and then in the future, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. So if it's WWE wants to make Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn look absolutely amazing, making them look like they are the perfect tag team, which I believe they are. I believe they are 1,010%. My number one rule for men's wrestling is I hate it when two single superstars come together to fight for tag team titles. I feel like if you're a tag team, you should stay in the tag team division. You should highlight the tag team division. With that being said, in the women's division, of course, you have Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Then you have Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. You also have Damage Control. And you have Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn. So in the future, I bet there is going to be a lot more women's wrestling on the verge in terms of professional wrestling in the WWE side, because they are in the works for the Intercontinental and also the Women's United States Championship. So, you're going to see a mid card title belt. Now you're going to see a main card. And once again, you're going to see the women's tag team, championships being defended and stuff like that. So it should be pretty badass. Lash Legend and Miss Jackson shouldn't hang their head too low. I thought they did very, very well. After the match, you saw Ethan Page come out, of course, just building up toward what's going to happen tomorrow. Oro Mensa pinned Ethan Page once again for the third time. Then you saw Brooks Jensen take on Cedric Alexander. Happy to see Cedric Alexander. I got to be honest with the whole Bobby Lashley news and stuff like that. And then Shelton Benjamin. There's a lot of speculations saying that AEW is going to have a version of the Hurt Business. I have no idea if they're going to, take that name. I think it is coined and copyrighted by WWE, but I think it's stupid. I think WWE should just kind of let them have it. I think more or less if they don't let them have the Hurt Business title name, it's just petty. It's just nonsense. It's just petty crap. It just shows that WWE holding on to this grudge, being like, if you make it outside the WWE, you're not going to be successful. You can't use our names. And in reality, who gives a damn? And I think under the Paul Levesque era, I'm pretty sure, Triple H is going to have no problem having MVP. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley leave on good terms. Hurt Business maybe makes a comeback to WWE within a couple of years or something like that. But right now, it seems like they are actually heading out. So you saw Brooks Jensen lose Cedric Alexander. You saw that move by Brooks Jensen as he did a somersault from the apron onto the announce table, and he completely looked like he shattered his ankle. And then you saw Cedric Alexander roll him in, hit the move, and then hit his finishing move, and then got the 1-2-3. So I think there was a little bit of an injury right there. Obviously, Sean Spears was ringside to his chagrin. You saw Brooks Jensen get the loss. Brooks Jensen not really taking his singles run, I guess, that seriously, I guess you can say. But overall, you saw Cedric Alexander being super impressive, and I was happy he picked up the dub. Next, we see Tony D'Angelo retaining his Heritage Cup championship against Tavion Heights in the 5th round. It was a good match. Obviously there was the first 2 rounds, no decision. And then round 3, you saw Tony D'Angelo. Round 4, you saw recuperated Tavion Heights with the pump up speech from Ren Sinclair of looking from the outside in terms of being a part of the No Quarter Catch crew. I thought Tavion was going to do it. I was kind of hoping, I still think that Tony D'Angelo is still in the main event, picture in terms of WWE NXT. So, the Heritage Cup, I feel like would do wonders for the No Quarter Catch crew. Obviously, sorry, there's something like itching my back. Obviously, you see them, Charlie Dempsey, Osborne, Heights. You see them on, different shows, obviously on TNA and stuff like that. Just kind of having something like that, like the Heritage Cup that you can defend from promotion to promotion, I think could be pretty cool. Honestly, like if you see the Don in TNA, he would look so out of place. But that's in my opinion. I think watching the D'Angelo family walk out of NXT to defend their Heritage Cup championship at Impact Wrestling, it would just, I don't know, it just doesn't really look like it fits. But Charlie Dempsey, Tavion Heights, Osborne, it would be amazing. So, definitely think that's going to happen in the future sometime, some way. Then you saw a promo with my man, young OG Javon Evans, telling the crowd, telling the viewers and the listeners that he used to tell his teachers to suck it. The DX chop. I love that. I think that's totally badass. If you're going to school tomorrow and if you have a teacher, I'm just kidding. No, don't do that. Do not do that. I do not condone those actions. Just kidding. No, but no, I thought it was kind of cool. Just spoken from a true wrestling fan. Talked about how when his parents got divorced, it was a really, really hard time. So when in doubt, what's the best thing to do is try to find something to distract you from all the depression and stuff like that. Because it's not easy. It's not easy when parents get divorced and stuff like that. But Javon Evans did what he had to do to become kind of at peace with himself. He found a passion that he loved, ultimately led up to his career. Obviously, 1,010% impressive. Jamon Evans is the future of WWE NXT. He was literally just 3 seconds away from, winning the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. So I thought that was pretty cool. He said he used to borrow his neighbor's trampoline to practice wrestling moves and stuff like that. Just, a wrestling fan go pro. Kind of like what you see with Bailey, like what you see with Shawn Michaels. Basically, everybody who becomes a professional wrestler, obviously, it's the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and it's not really rocket science. It's like something obvious as hell. If you become a fan of something, obviously you want to mimic, you want to emulate what you see on the television and stuff like that. So, and him, he was like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like I'd be, Jeff Hardy with my friends, wrestling and in the schoolyard and stuff like that. So definitely love that. Next, we see Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's amazing concert. It was pretty badass. I got to be honest. It was pretty cool to see Joe Hendry go out there in the NXT universe, in the WWE universe, and just show that he's got the juice and he's a dog, man. He's a dog. Obviously, he was attacked by Gallus, and Gallus does, Joe Coffey. He does not want Joe Hendry in the WWE NXT. Still a little animosity between the Irish or Scotsmen. So Gallus is set to take on Joe Coffey of Gallus is set to take on Joe Hendry next week, week 2 of NXT Great American Bash. So then you have the contract signing to Ethan Page and Oro Mensah. I love Ethan Page and I love what he's doing on NXT, but I don't know. He just seems like I don't know. He just seems like he's not really in the limelight like I kind of thought he was going to be, and I'm not sure if that makes any sense. But if you take the title away from someone as big, someone as enthusiastic and charismatic and loved like Trick Williams, I think you got to go out there and you got to be more of a champion. I feel like that's the reason why I felt like I couldn't put him on my top 10 power rankings yesterday. Is Ethan Page? I think him fighting someone like Oro Mensah. I know once when Ethan became a part of the NXT roster, he attacked Oro Mensah and also Noam Dar. Which should be interesting to see if Noam Dar makes a return next week. So it's not ideal for a main event NXT World Championship match, but I guess it's gonna do. Oro Mensah has been nothing but spectacular, proven himself within the last couple of weeks. Beforehand, he was kind of like that member of Metaphor, kind of just like soft spoken in the corner, but knew that he could have and knew the stable could have lived up to so much of a potential. And just kind of settling for the scraps and stuff like that. I gotta be honest, ever since you've kind of saw Noam Dar leave Metaphor, obviously due to injury. You've seen Ora Mensah step up. You see Lash Legend. She tried to compete for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Did you see her tag team with Miss Jackson for the WWE World Women's Tag Team titles? So it should be interesting to see what that stable does moving forward. But should be interesting to see what the match next week on Great American Bash Week 2. Speeding this up, running out of time, we had Kendall Gray alongside with Carly Bright going against Jada Parker. Jada Parker got the victory. Kind of cool, but you saw Ma Was Born come out with Ren Sinclair for the distraction on Kendall. That's how Jada Parker was able to pick up the victory. Then, something that I kind of thought was going to happen. Fallon Henry, Jasmine Nix, and JC Jane defeat Soruka, Lola Vice, and Carmen Petrovic. It was about time that these girls got a victory. They're such the bad girls of WWE NXT, and lately they've been on a huge loss kick. But it's kind of cool. I definitely love that. So Fallon Henry, Jasmine Nix, JC Jane get back into the win column week 1 of NXT Great American Bash. And then we have the main event. The main event, Roxanne Perez defending her WWE NXT Women's World Heavyweight Championship against Chase Hughes, Thea Hill. It was pretty dope. I got to be honest. It was a great match. A lot of, different submissions, a lot of counters. You definitely, you basically saw the same wrestler go head to head. I know that might come off a little weird. But both of them are relatively the same size. They relatively have to rely on their elusiveness their tactical wrestling, also their technique and strategy to pick up the win for them to win a match, let alone a championship match. But it was great. Overall, it was entertaining. They got a "This is awesome" from the crowd. I thought it was 1,010% awesome. I loved how Rich Holland tried to tap into Thea Hale's, inner badass and be like, "You got to do whatever it takes to win." And that's something she needed to hear, obviously. And something that I kind of mentioned yesterday is Rich Holland going to do or say anything that's going to mess up his chances when staying in Chase U. But Thea Hale, she's going to be back. She's going to be back. She's still super young, much like Roxanne Perez, but Roxanne Perez, Pop Rocks for the win, the 1, 2, 3, retained, and still WWE NXT World Women's Champion, Roxanne the Prodigy Perez. All right, guys. So next, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. It is live tonight. Can't wait to see it. I have it on record right now. I have not checked Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, nothing of that sort. So I want to be completely surprised. So yeah, let's talk about some AEW Dynamite when we come back.